Hey guys, it's me Sandra, TTC 45. Still on vacation, but winding down to my last days. As promised, I am going to record a couple of videos while I'm here. Today I want to talk to you guys about why I decided to use a donor to get the baby that I wanted. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the two donors that I chose. Now, I decided at the last minute that I wanted to have another child, and literally, I just made this decision like almost 2 years ago. I didn't know prior to then that you really had a time limit on becoming pregnant. I just realized what biological clock ticking meant. I thought that as long as you had kids and as long as you still came on a cycle, you can always get pregnant, and obviously that was not the case. Luckily, before I started this, I did decide that I was going to go ahead and do a little research before starting this. And when I did the research, that's when I learned that it's not easy to conceive when you're past 40, and especially for me, who was at that time approaching 45. Um, I realized that it doesn't matter, how many times you conceived in the past. It doesn't matter how fertile you was in the past. Once you get to a certain age, your egg starts to diminish, and they're not viable eggs anymore. So, you know, you can be getting pregnant numerous of times and never knowing because the baby is not sticking or the baby is not growing. Also, I was dealing with the fact that at the time I did have a boyfriend, but um, he was not in the mix with me on having another child because him, like myself, we both have children. They're all grown, and he didn't want to start over. But I did want him to at least support my decision to do it, even if he didn't want to be a part of it. And he didn't support the decision. And because of that, our relationship started going downhill till eventually it faded away. And so when I went and I spoke to the RE, he gave me like a less than 5% chance, regardless of the fact that I've had kids before in the past with no problem. I've never been diagnosed with any type of infertility issues, and I just had a hard time believing it. And so he first thought that the doctor was, I mean not the doctor, the insurance company wasn't going to pay for it because he said they don't pay for fertility when you're trying to use your own eggs when you're over the age of 40. I contacted my insurance before I even went to the RE, and she told me every individual was different. It depends on that particular individual. I guess they look at, whether or not that person has fertility issues. They look at the tests that are done by the doctors to determine if, there's still some type of ovarian reserve left. It's a lot of factors that they look at before they decide whether they're going to pay for it or not. And when I had my ovarian reserve test done, I had the results of a younger woman. So they didn't hesitate to give me the full package deal of a younger woman. So we started out by trying to use IUI. However, before we did any treatments, the doctor did a hysterosalpingogram, which showed that my left tube was fully functioning. The dye went through and a spill, but the right tube had a little blockage at the tip. The dye went through, but it did not spill at the end. Therefore, the only good way of me getting pregnant was to have that left tube to pick up that egg and that sperm. But when we did the IUI the first time, my dominant follicles was on the right side, and I wanted to cancel it because I was afraid it would not work. But the doctor insisted that if we keep trying, it's a possibility the left side can pick up the right side. and that turned out to be a big fat end. So we decided to do it one more time. We went the second time, and then when we went the second time, the right side again became the dominant, and I decided, you know what, I'm not gonna go and try this again. So I canceled it before he had the opportunity to try to talk me into going through with it again. And so after then, I had got an offer from a member of my family. I'm not gonna mention any names, but a member of my family, that if I wanted to, I can use their eggs. And I thought, well, they was trying to get me to do a donor, and I wasn't, interested in it. I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to, that wasn't even the topic of discussion because it wasn't nothing I was interested in doing. But I kept it in the back of my head. I went on here and pursued with the IVF. Now, the first IVF, it failed because I ended up ovulating before I got to retrieval. However, I ovulated from the right side, but the left side continued to grow. Now, according to other REs, that cycle should have gotten canceled. But my doctor decided to continue to go anyway, just because it was still going. And we continued to go. They retrieved 5 eggs from their left side, 3 fertilized, but neither one of them made it to blastocyst. Again, other REs said that, they should have canceled that the minute I ovulated, but he didn't. So we decided to go at it at a second round. When I got to the second round, this time I made it further. Before I ovulated, probably like a week before transfer, a week before retrieval. This time I ovulated like a day before retrieval, and at this point I had just gave up. I'm like, no more, I'm not doing this anymore. I gave up, and I decided to take that person that offered me the donor up on their offer. I wanted to make sure, was they serious when they offered it to me, and was they still, willing to offer it? And I gave them a call and talked to them, and they said, yeah, they were still willing. And I was like, oh, good. So I decided to quit at that moment. Should I have given up, or should I kept going? I don't know. Maybe not. But I decided to move forward with the donor at that point. Meanwhile, at the same time, I decided to take a break. And when I took a break, I started looking into other REs because I wanted to get a second opinion. And I came across another RE who really thought I had a good chance of conceiving on my own based on my results, and even based on the results of how well I responded to the IVF. And they were so sure that they had a probability of getting me pregnant. However, the first round of that caused me to develop a cyst, which later grew into a tumor, which later had my left ovary removed. And I'm sure you guys remember that. After then, I said, that's it. I'm doing too much to my body that the good Lord probably didn't want me to do. So I knew at that moment that I had to stop. I said, if I have this opportunity to use this family member's egg and still conceive a child that has my blood running through the vein, and who can possibly come out looking just like me, because me and this relative look a lot alike, then I'd rather go that route. I also, still in the back of my head, I still wanted to, try again, because the doctor kept saying, oh, because you lost one ovary doesn't mean we can't do it, and we can still do it with just the other ovary. I'm like, no, that's okay. I got my mind set. This is what I'm going to do. Now, do I have any regrets about doing it? No, definitely not, especially after it worked on the first try. I have no regrets about doing it. I'm going to tell you the reason why. I belong to a group on Facebook of women 40 plus that are pregnant. And I'm going to tell you something. I like this group, but it is the most saddest group I'm a part of. Why? Because there's a lot of women in this group who conceive but end up losing their baby. a lot of them who conceive and end up losing their babies because the babies doesn't make it. And there are a lot of them who conceive and they end up delivering a healthy baby. Some of these women end up conceiving naturally. I think that the most pregnant ones that's on that site that do conceive are the ones that conceive naturally. They're the ones that end up having viable pregnancies. The ones that go through the ART, which is the artificial reproductive technology, those are the ones babies don't really make it too far. Then I thought about, not only did my donor cycle work on the first try, but I went through the non-invasive genetic testing, which is the Harmony test, and everything was normal. I had the spinal bit for the test done. Everything was normal. A lot of these women that have had these Harmony tests that's in this group, a lot of them are getting positive results back. Positive trisomy 18 or positive trisomy 13 or something to that effect. And it's sad because they're worried, they're upset, they don't know what's going to happen when the baby get here. Some of them end up not, once they get the results back, they end up miscarrying in about 2 to 3 weeks after that. So yes, it really is a struggle when you're over the age of 40 and you're pregnant. You have to constantly be afraid every day if something is wrong with your baby or not. So I'm watching my granddaughter play in in the beach, and I want to make sure she's okay because these waves are pretty high, and it's blowing her away. Yeah, I'm patting my head because it itch. But anyway, yeah. So I have no regrets for doing it because I believe the baby is going to be healthy. I like to hear when the results are all coming back normal. And again, I'm not carrying a total stranger baby because this is a baby that's definitely going to have my veins running through the blood. Now, the reason why I'm not going to mention who this relative is or how this person is related to me is because when we had to go through the psycho eval with the psychologist, it was determined at that moment that the only person that should know who they biological parents are before anybody is the baby. So I'm going to keep that out of the media until I'm ready to tell my baby. Now let's talk about my male donor. Now I actually went into this hoping that I can use a known donor. I'm not going to lie. This is why I had the conversation with my boyfriend at the time, hoping that he'd agree to it. And it just really surprised me how he responded to it when I have other male friends that I may have dated in the past or just strictly platonic male friends. When I brought it to their attention, they was quick to raise their hand and I'll help you, you know. And so it really, really saddened me that he didn't want to be a part of this. So I was left at that point to try to consider a unknown donor. But there was one friend that stepped up and said he didn't mind doing it. Of course, he wanted to try to do it the natural way, but I'm not with that. I mean, to each his own. I don't really do the, sleeping with somebody just to have a baby. I mean, if you're going to do this, you're going to do this with me through the fertility clinic. And that's just the only way it's going to be done. If we're going to sleep together, I expect for you to be a part of this baby's life 100%. And so if you're not planning on being a part of this baby's life 100%, then no, I'm not going to sleep with you to get this baby. And so he agreed to go ahead and go through the clinic with me. However, when I brought it across my RU's attention, he was telling me that because he wasn't a person that I slept with, that he had to go through all these different testings that's going to take about 6 months, and that I would have to pay for it. And he said it wasn't cheap. And he said that would be the only way they'd be able to use him because he and I at that time were not intimate partners. And so at that point, it was back to square one. Choose a known donor, an unknown donor. So he gave me all these different brochures to different cryobanks, California cryobank, NY Genetic. It's all type of cryobanks. He gave it to me, and they were pretty expensive. I was reading some of the profiles. Did nothing catch my eye. And so I asked myself, if I had to have a child by somebody I did not know, what characteristics must this person have? And so what I chose was I wanted somebody that was smart, somebody that goes to school and is doing things with their life and, just have that natural smartness in them. Who usually have those natural smartness in them? Doctors, lawyers. I found the cryobank in Michigan that only does video. I'm sorry. They only do. I'm just looking at these fine Dominican men walking past me. I got a little bit distracted there. They only do donations from. I thought I lost my granddaughter. They only do donations from men who are either doctors or in medical school. And so I said, bingo, I found my bank. Now, the only downside to this bank is that I could not find any brothers. I couldn't find any black men in this bank. All of them was foreign, from Germany to Spain to Europe to whatever. They was not nobody that was black. The close to black that I got out of this bank was an Indian. And so I chose about, no thank you, I chose about 3 different Indians that was listed, and I went by their profile. I went by, how long their parents, grandparents lived. I went by how the color of their skin, whether it was dark, medium, or light. It was a lot of things that I was looking at. I wanted to know, what did they do for a living? What did their parents do for a living? And this guy that I chose came from a family of doctors. His grandfather was a doctor, his dad was a doctor, and now he's a doctor. And so I said, this is what I want. So that is who I chose. I chose a Indian, Asian doctor as my donor. So right now, as one of my co-workers would say, I'm carrying Pocahontas. He teases me every time he sees me because I did, be honest with him and told him that I use a donor. He's like, oh, you got Pocahontas up in there. So yes, that's what I chose. So that's the story about my donors. The next time I send you guys a video, it's probably just gonna be, just questions and answers about what it's like being pregnant over the age of 40. And yeah, so I'm enjoying my vacation, ladies. I hope you ladies are doing great. I did remember who it was that I wanted to send a shout out on her big fat P, and that was little Gigi. Girl, I'm so excited for you and getting those twins, and God is really blessing you and your husband, and I hope that you have a healthy pregnancy and a healthy babies, and I am just so happy for you guys. I am over the moon. And Chris and Joe, I'm still rooting for you. I know that baby is coming one way or another. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.